So much to get through, so many deals in the offing, done deals today as well. Michael Bridge, let's start with what has been a long-running saga, but it is close to coming to an end. Where do things stand with Manchester United and their pursuit of Benjamin Sesko tonight?
Well, good evening, Darmish. They're very close indeed. We know there's been a medical today, and all being well for Manchester United, will be presented to his new supporters at Old Trafford tomorrow as Manchester United face Fiorentina. Now, big day for Manchester United, not just because they've got a very, very good player in the door, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe opening the doors for a new Carrington, a new training centre. Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying it wasn't up to scratch before. So a big day for Manchester United. And a reminder as well, it's a lot of money, but they agreed to deal with Leipzig worth an initial 66.3 million, 7.37 million in performance-related add-ons. So it's a big, big move for him. United, I mean, Ruben Amorim said time after time after time last season, they need a bit more on their forward line, and that forward line is going to look very different next season.
You mentioned very different. Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, and imminently Benjamin Sesko. They've gone for it, haven't they? They've spent big in this window, haven't they?
They have. And look, it's unheard of to think of Manchester United not in Europe, but maybe just 1 year for a reset. We know Ruben Amorim said constantly, time after, even when he was at Sporting, he likes to join clubs in pre-season. He doesn't like joining mid-season. And he said it when in his press conferences here. They were very close to winning the Europa League. It was a very poor league position, but they have this reset now. And it's a very formidable front three. Matheus Cunha's been there for some time. Bryan Mbeumo's been done for a while. He was on that tour of the United States. And now Benjamin Sesko. So it's a new look United. They've spent big money and they're going for it.
You say they're going for it. I mean, Benjamin Sesko, for one, made it very, very clear that it was Manchester United and that's all he wanted. Now, that's impressed United, hasn't it?
Yeah, because we talk about players wanting to play in Europe and Champions Leagues. Man United had none of that to offer. But you do wonder, he's 22 years of age. We might be sitting here in 12 months' time talking about Manchester United being back in the Champions League. We don't know. I think it's more about, I think it's a thank you to Sir Alex Ferguson, really. I mean, it's Manchester United. It's a historical football club. It's still one of the biggest clubs in world football. And there's that excitement there from Šeško, and I'm sure that's it. You know, Newcastle couldn't have done any more. And I think we've got to say that for Newcastle. They put in big money, big wages, but ultimately he wants to play for Man United.
Look, Sesko's imminent arrival is going to have repercussions elsewhere in that squad because it's going to throw further doubt on Rasmus Højlund's future, Michael. Clearly his game time is going to be impacted by Sesko's arrival. Look, RB Leipzig did want to bring in Rasmus Højlund on loan, but he's been very bullish, publicly at least, about wanting to fight for his place in the Manchester United first team. However, it is now thought that bids of around £40 million would be considered by Manchester United for Rasmus Højlund. Now, interestingly, he wasn't one of those 5 players that we were talking about throughout this transfer window that Manchester United were willing to listen to offers for. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Tyrell Malacia, Antony, and Alejandro Garnacho. Let's talk about Garnacho because there have been developments, haven't there?
There have been developments. One thing we've known all summer is that Chelsea like the player, but Manchester United want £50 million to sell Alejandro Garnacho this summer. It's not as if they don't think he's a good player. It's just, it looks like he needs to move on in terms of maybe the relationship he's got with Ruben Amorim. He was very unhappy with his Europa League final snub. He's made that very public. But the key from Chelsea's point of view, they think they can sign Garnacho for less than Manchester United's asking price. But there hasn't been a bid yet. And going back to Manchester United's side, he's got 3 years remaining on his contract at United. You feel that this probably will get done, but for what price, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Manchester United valuing him at £50 million because they'll look at other players that have gone for that amount as well, the likes of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, Noni Madueke, who actually left Chelsea for Arsenal. But I mentioned a couple of those other players. Jadon Sancho and Antony are two of the big ones that potentially could bring in money for Manchester United. Borussia Dortmund, we're told, remain in talks with Sancho's representatives over a deal, while dialogue remains open with United. No agreement on either at the moment, though it is thought he could be available for significantly less than the £25 million obligation price that Chelsea had when they signed him on loan last season. As for Antony, there is plenty of interest in Antony, but he's got one destination in his mind. It is Real Betis. He had such a fantastic loan spell with them last season. So as much as United will be positive about Benjamin Sesko coming in, they still do need to make these sales before the end of the transfer window. That said, you mentioned close to £200 million being spent in this transfer window if and when Šeško's deal is confirmed. But are they stopping there?
Well, I don't think they will. I mean, I think the key for Manchester United is getting those players out, the ones you've mentioned. I think Marcus Rashford to Barcelona is a great move for him. It's wages as well. It's not just necessarily transfer fee, it's big wages they're on. What else do Manchester United do? When I look at Manchester United, I think brilliant. That new forward line, great. But then I look at the midfield. It needs a bit of a revamp. And obviously there's talk of interest in Carlos Baleba in the midfield from Brighton. We know, as you've mentioned, interest in Donnarumma from PSG. We'll wait and see if that happens. I think that would be an upgrade on Onana. I'm sure that would be as well. So they still need to do business, Manchester United. However, you look at so many clubs and you think, are we ready for the start of the Premier League season? You'd say probably 18, 19 will say no, but are you ready for day one? I'd say, let's give it a go.
You say, let's give it a go. You talk about Baleba. I mean, there's one thing being interested in Carlos Baleba, but Brighton are fantastic sellers and they do not want to sell. They insist he's not for sale. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's got the option of a further year. Brighton are under no pressure at all to sell Carlos Baleba.
Benjamin Šeško has officially completed his medical at Manchester United and signed a contract running until June 2030, with the club confirming his arrival from RB Leipzig for a fee reported around £73.7 million plus performance add-ons that could take the total closer to £89 million. The 22-year-old striker, who scored 21 goals last season and is known for his pace and physical dominance, expressed excitement about joining United's project under Ruben Amorim and praised the positive environment at the club. Director of football Jason Wilcox highlighted Šeško's rare talent and personality suitable for United's ambitions. Regarding Alejandro Garnacho, his exit from